Alright, what could be causing the tail on your bolt carrier to mushroom or peen or get smashed in? I'm talking about the little section back here. Seems to be a concern here lately. See a lot of stuff on the AK files, different threads about it. A few videos maybe. You can see where I've hardness tested everything. But what could cause that? Everybody's talking about the G2. Well, here's a G2 and here's a G2. Everybody, they're unmolested, as I would say. They don't have the little angle right here smoothed over. That's exactly how it would come from the factory. I think the very first generation of G2s were actually a lot straighter with a big radius on the end of it. Similar to something like that. Which these up here, I don't know, they're just in bags of just surplus stuff. I think most of them are Egyptian Mod E's, but who knows. But anyway, this section right here, if left alone, that angle right there, that is what actually, when it's sitting in your gun, is sitting right on that. And the carrier tail has to push that until it kicks over enough, and then the bottom down here catches in this groove and actually cocks or sets the hammer here. So you got two contact points, but this is the one that always gets smashed up. It seems to always happen with a G2. Well, I've done hardness tests on here, which you can probably see some of the peck marks there. Same with that one. Well, these are hard, yes, compared to everything else. They're a lot harder. A lot harder. But here is a Rack 1 Sentry. Nice radius. But it's not considered really soft. But you can see where the carrier tail has been smashing the snot out of it. Even has a chip out of it. But is this soft? Not really. It'll check out as the same hardness as roughly these surplus ones. These are harder. These having that angle on there can cause a problem. Because like I said, that's exactly where the carrier tail hits. If you look at these are a lot higher with a radius on them. Same with this one. It's a lot higher with a big fat radius on it right there. Taller with a radius. If you look at a G2 here, see if I can figure out how to make this look alright. See the difference? That gives it a contact point to where the tail's just hitting and then just pushes over. There's no angle like with the G2 to act like an axe and grind in and stick into the tail section. Because these are really hard, and some of these are harder than others. Some are high 30s, some are mid 40s. But I'll show you in a rifle what I'm talking about, where the tail actually hits. Alright, here is a G2 installed in this rifle that has been worked over. See, there's no angle. It's just a radius. And the camera goes out of focus. Awesome. Watch. So you got this much travel, it comes back, and then that tail will make contact, pushing it. Then the bottom of the carrier, the part that slides in between the magazine magazine lips that holds the actual shells in the magazine, will start to push down on it. See? As you can see, it's trying to push up on the carrier. At this distance, will hit it. It will cause the hammer actually to fly back and then come back in, and usually by then it's bounced and the bottom of the carrier has already pushed it over. So it's that first initial whack. And that, I'll show you, I'll replace the hammer in this one with one of the untouched G2s and show you that that angle on the G2 sits right on the end of that tail. Okay, the hammer is out. Here's the hammer that was in it. See, it's been worked over. It's radiused. This is what I'm going to put in here. So you'll see that that carrier tail will hit right on that. Alright, got the other G2 installed. You can see the angle. Now watch the tail. See how it's made contact with it right there? Now watch that angle actually ride up the edge of that tail. See it ride up? That's where your problem's coming from, in my opinion. That has to continue its radial path or its arc, but the pivot point's down here where your axis pin is. So that has to come up and over to continue the arc. As you can see, that sharp edge is just grinding away, because this is anywhere from 5 to 10 points harder usually than the tail. So that's where you're going to get the peening from. If this one was more like the surplus, then that bottom flat face right there that's touching would be higher, and then you'd have a big radius up here. And it would never make contact with that. It would just simply push it over until the bottom right there continued forcing the hammer down. But like I said, that's my opinion. I think that's what the biggest problem is the hard hammer. And more so just being that angle, being right on it. And that is what is chewing up or peening the living snot out of your carrier tail, in my opinion. Alright, here's one of those just surplus hammers I have. Like I said, I have no idea what it come out of. It's just in a bag full of spare parts. Notice the high. There's no angle. They got that big, long, tall face with the big radius on here. Watch. Makes contact. See, it makes contact in a different area. Notice you can see light in between there. Let's see. I mean, I'm just barely pushing on that with my one finger here. I'm just barely moving it like that. And it goes over just nice and pretty. That will not wear out your carrier tail. It will peen it just a little bit just from the impact. Of course, they're all going to do that. But the ones we've seen where the carrier tail is smashed up about a 50 to 100 thousandths up, almost an eighth, that's dangerous. As you can see how the surplus one, nice and smooth. That would work all day long without problems. So the biggest deal is going to be that angle. That is what is killing, along with its hardness, is killing your carrier tail.